Oh, hello there. In this video, I'm going to be talking about books and minimalism, specifically how I handled books during the decluttering process and how my philosophy has changed since then.
Break the twitch.
I've always loved books, specifically nonfiction books. You can probably guess that with Break the Twitch, I'm really interested in personal growth and development. I love sharing the things that I learn and coming up with my own ideas about what I read. The thing is, I ran into a problem when we started decluttering our home. I had quite a few unread books on the bookshelf. Turns out I had sort of been one-click purchasing my way into thinking that I would be reading a lot more than I actually did. I get really excited about something on Amazon, one of the books that I found, and I'd order it, and it would go on the bookshelf next to other unread books. And that pattern kind of continued, and I continually wanted to make progress in learning about something, and I just do it by buying the book and then not reading it. It was horribly unproductive and a huge waste of money. It's something that I talk about a lot when I speak about aligning my short-term actions with long-term vision. Doing that was definitely not in alignment. The problem goes even deeper when I realized that the reason I wasn't reading any book in full was because I had so many unread books on my bookshelf. There was almost this guilt or this pressure that I felt that I needed to be reading the ones on the shelf instead of the one on my nightstand. The one that I was actively reading, I'd get into it about 25% of the way, and then it would go back on the shelf because there were so many other books waiting for my attention. Because there were so many distractions, I had a hard time giving my attention to the one book that I should have been reading. When it came time to go through our books during the decluttering process, I did something that was pretty drastic, but I don't regret it for 1 minute. I sold and donated every single one of my brand new unread books. The things that had been sitting there for months or some even shorter, I took them all away, took them to half-price books, sold them back on Amazon, or gave them to friends that wanted the books. It seems like a waste, but honestly, it was one of the best things I've done when it comes to my reading habits. Now I'm able to just focus on the book that I have, reading one book at a time, from cover to cover, and then moving on to the next. It's been a huge relief, honestly, to not have books that are waiting to be read on the shelf and just kind of sitting there, and there's no guilty feeling for having them there anymore. For a while after that, I tried reading books on an Amazon Kindle. I figured minimalism, Kindle, lots of books in a small space, it should make a lot of sense, right? But I decided that I really just don't like an e-reader. I really enjoy the feeling of having a book in my hand, and I tend to retain more information when I'm turning pages and reading it that way. So I've kind of decided that I do want books in my life, and I don't mind them being around. It's just that I want to make sure that I read them, and I don't impulsively buy them online and then put them on the shelf and not read them. So that's why I created this rule. I decided that I wouldn't let myself buy a new book until I had read the book that I had bought previously. If I hadn't finished it completely, I would either sell it or give it away before getting a new book. This essentially ensures that I focus on the one book that I want to be reading, and it doesn't trap me into having to read it cover to cover if I'm not that interested in it after all. I can give it to a friend or find a new home for it, and it should be just fine that way. Using that strategy, it makes sure that we don't pile up unread books, and I don't get back into that situation of feeling the guilt like I felt before I decluttered the books in the first place. So in the end, books actually bring me a lot of joy, and I think it's perfectly fine to be a minimalist and still spend money on books. It's great when you can trade them or find them in alternate ways, but in general, books are wonderful things, and whether you like e-readers or paper books, it doesn't really matter because what matters is the information held within. Just make sure that instead of having new books piling up, and if you intend to do something, so you buy a book to intend to do that thing, make sure you step back and wait and assess what you actually need in that moment. And if you're ready to start reading, buy the book. As always, thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Until next time, see you later.